My name's Ginger Lewman, and I'm, I guess, international keynoter, consultant, and just all-around wiseacre.
The queen of PBL.
Oh, look at you being nice and polite. I forgot my crown.
See, I thought he was going to be really polite at the beginning, and he started to say, I'm here with... And he said, I'm here in beautiful Savannah. I thought he was going for, I'm here with two beautiful.
No, huh?
Yeah, we didn't get that.
No.
Sorry.
No, he meant to. He meant to, but he just wanted to make sure.
I'm a stupid guy, so I don't think of those things.
I was like, oh, that was going to be sweet.
We can give him credit for it.
Yeah.
We can give him credit for it.
Okay.
Anyway, this, we'll let you introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Tammy Fellers, friend of Ginger.
Oh, okay. That's all. She's nobody other than... No.
I also
for what
work...
it's worth, the rest of your folks left you high and dry.
Sure, I got my phone back. That's all that matters.
I, too, work at AESA, and I don't know. You know, people ask us what our titles are. Depends on the minute.
Tammy Fellers is as a workshop leadership budding budget brand new. Come on, do my Porky Pig over here. I've got the wrong burgeoning. That's not the right word. Budding, maybe that's I don't know. She's brand new and growing.
Okay.
I'm brand new. I'm
No,
brand.
didn't let me finish my sentence. It's taking way too long. You're losing leaders, or you're losing listeners by the second.
We don't have any. It's
okay. All right. This is just for our entertainment. I got it. No, she's actually a new leader in the world of leadership. She works with energy leadership, helping to create fertile grounds for people who need new initiatives to come in. You know, though, when you get a new initiative, half the staff says, okay, and the other half says, screw you, we're not doing that, right? And she goes in, right? And she goes in and helps people realize how they can be their best selves.
Cool.
And do the best thing that they want to do, but don't realize that they can. And would you say that was a fair assessment?
Absolutely. Change doesn't happen through defiance. It doesn't happen through compliance. So how do we get to commitment?
Wow. There you go.
I've seen it work.
Wow.
It might have changed my life in some ways as well.
Yeah.
Or if the change does happen through defiance or compliance, it's really not the change you want. So.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. That really is. I mean, that's when you. I'm thinking of different things that I've worked for many different places, and sometimes when things change, that really is, forced compliance. We're going to go this direction. We're going to do this whether you like it or not. No, actually, if you don't like it, then you don't have to work here anymore. I mean, really, I was actually told that one time, so, I don't work there anymore, just saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But how do we get them to commitment so they want to be a part of that change and be on that journey with us? It's not just about hitting the target. We have to focus on the journey as well. Or after you hit the target, who walks out, or, it's not a sustainable target.
Well, and to me, I think the biggest challenge when it comes to changing something, whether it's a big change in an organization or if it's little changes in an organization, from my experience anyway, people get very comfortable in what they're doing and what they know and how things have been sailing along since at least the time they got there. So what's something that you do or something you maybe talk about?
You don't have to get in depth necessarily, but what are some of the things that you would help with an organization? Let's say an education service center decides they are going to implement something new that really is a change from the direction that things have been going, and there are people who are going to dig in their heels and say, this is ridiculous, we've never done this before, and I don't want to go down this road. And so what are some of the things that, when you're working with, say, this particular education agency, what are some of the things that you might suggest or help them with?
So I think the first thing that we really focus on is the awareness of where we're at and why. One of the things, it's a super simple analogy, but what hat did you wear to the table? Did you wear your boxer headgear to the table and are coming for the knockout? Because, isn't that the ultimate goal and for a boxer is to win and be the only winner left standing?
Right.
Or did you come with your baseball hat and be a part of the team and want to contribute? And okay, yes, not everything's going to go my way, because it's not about my way. It's about the common goal or the organizational goal, and really just checking in with, why do I have my boxer hat on or feel the need to have that on? What's creating that, and what roadblocks can we remove or clear up, bring clarity to, so that I want to have a baseball hat on and be a part of that team. So one of the things that we really like to focus on is sometimes in our schools today, we're really in a compliant mode. Let's be compliant. Okay, I'm not frustrated, I'm not angry about it anymore. I'll do what you tell me to do.
Right.
Okay, well, do what you tell me to do? What happens if we get to total commitment from that? So then how do we switch that? Compliance is a place we have to start, potentially, but let's turn that into commitment. Okay, so here's the opportunity. How is this going to be great for kids? How can we make this compliance issue really meet the needs of kids, meet the needs of school, meet the needs of whomever that is? And so that's a focus for us, is really just thinking about, what hat are you wearing at the table and why?
Yeah.
And is that the hat you want to put on? Did it fall off that coat rack onto your head? Or did you put it? Well, hey,
That happens, doesn't it?
it does.
Yeah.
We all have defaults. We all have defaults,
Right.
whether that be from the way we were raised, from experiences
Sure.
we've had in the past, from all of those things. And all of a sudden you're sitting here and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't put that hat on this morning. I want a different one on. So put a different one on.
Yeah.
And we have, and I think raising people's awareness to say, wait a minute, why am I frustrated about this? What's causing this, and where do I want to go? Because this isn't where I want to be.
I'll tell you, when Tammy and Tamara Conradi brought this to our organization, I'm just going to tell this out loud. And the organization knows I say this.
Well, you're telling it to everybody.
Well, I know, and so I'm just going to go ahead and say this, because we're going to share some truths here. You know, ESDAC was in a really hurtful spot. We had people who were actively, actively sabotaging other people in the organization. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it was just enough. And Tamara Conradi came in and said, let's talk about this. So she got up in front of us and started talking about energy, leadership, and there's no good or bad. It is what it is. And I, of course, cynic that I am, I'm rolling my eyes saying, oh, listen to this frou-frou stuff, you know. And I'm like, all right, I'll go along with it, because, you know, I don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, and people are wrong. They do need to change in this organization. They're messing up, and they got to come along. And you know, like a good, just blaming everyone,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
I'm not going to fall. They're not me. Of course not. And but pretty soon I saw people changing, and not just changing like, you know, the hey, yeah, oh, I'm behind this, you know.
Right, yeah.
No, they were really like, people were changing, and that common vernacular that we were as an organization were able to have just changed everything. And I thought, all right, shut up about this, Ginger. Why don't you just really, you know, let's really start doing something here. And I've become a real believer. They've taken this out to so many different schools and organizations in and outside of education, and people's lives are changing. And again, it feels so frou-frou. They talk about catabolic energy and anabolic energy, and I'm like, all right, shut up.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ginger, and let's see what amazing. It's inspired leadership is what you guys have, right? Is there a website?
Yes, inspiredleadershipwithin.com.
Inspiredleadershipwithin.com. There we go. It's helpful with these guys. They're good like that.
Yeah, we'll tweet that out here in a minute.
So I talk with organizations anytime anybody wants to do PBL or Makerspace. I'm like, that's really cool. How are your teachers? Well, I don't know. We got a couple. I'm like, oh, we need to get some inspired leadership in here first. Plow the ground and get it fertilized. So when you plant your real seeds, they germinate.
So, go ahead.
And one of the things I wanted to expand on that Ginger talked about is then when we have that common vernacular and Ginger goes in with PBL or whatever the new initiative is, it actually kind of allows people to detach from those emotions. It's okay to be frustrated. Sure. It's okay to go, I don't know if this is going to work.
Right.
What? You want me to do PBL in a high school math classroom? Like, I know it allows people to go, wait a minute, I'm frustrated and why, and it's not that I am just going to be that obstinate person who is defiant. I have some real needs that need to be met.
That's right.
And it allows me to put them on the table in a different way so that now we can start meeting those needs. And that common, everybody on the same page with that language piece can be really helpful to the organizations.
So, and you can speak specifically of ESDAC or in generalities based on your experience. After you talk about the inspired leadership and you start to see people, some of the people, starting to get on that same page and have those conversations. In your experience, have there still been those folks who still say, oh, this is all well and good, but it's all frou-frou and baloney and I'm not coming along?
Welcome.
And then what are the, and then...
they don't have to work there anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to say. No. Well, but in all seriousness, though, that's where I was going with this. Right?
Sorry.
Did you? No, that's fine. Have you seen, has your experience been where that's exactly the result? Those people don't work there anymore, whether it was under their own volition to take off or they were encouraged to seek elsewhere.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, the only person I can change is me.
Yeah.
And if you want to work for an organization that's heading down this path, I mean, ESDAC has adopted as a core value anabolic service, which means service that is building it up. It's not catabolic, it's not destructive, it is building up. And if we don't want to, I don't want to as an employee be a part of that, then my guess would be ESDAC and I would have that conversation and I wouldn't be a part of that organization. And it's now a different way of doing that because here's the goal where we're going and do you want to be a part of that?
Well, I like that she says the conversation. What I've seen happen in school districts as I go across the states and things like that was if an administrator has trouble with a particular staff member, some admin will either have the too harsh conversation and not give them a chance or won't have the conversation at all.
Right.
And inspired leadership allows a leader to say, hey, you know what? This isn't about me. This isn't about hurt feelings. This is about our kids. And I'm going to approach it with a common vernacular and be able to have the hard conversations without taking it personally or making it personal.
Yeah.
And I think that has been the most powerful thing I've seen in our organization. And I've even had, I'm going to just confess this out loud too, some of those conversations had with me, and I was doing the right thing, by the way, all the time. I was,
I can tell.
But there are still some other things that that everybody can get better at,
Sure.
And the boss pulls me over, and by the way, she hates being called boss. And I call her that just because that's what she is. That's what people call her. Yeah. And. She's not bossy. She's just a boss. And challenges me on some of my thinking, which, I'm not used to. Because I'm pretty analytical and I'm pretty objective. I can step away from the situation and see it very logically without getting personally involved. Or so I thought.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's right.
In your mind, you saw yourself that way.
That's right.
But,
and I can't, to a point, but there's always that point. She says, hey, let's look again.
Right.
And what are you really wanting here? Sorry, I just thumped the table. That's probably blew somebody's eardrums out.
That's all right.
I've got a thump the table filter on.
Good, thank you. I make a point here. Anyway.
We have a whole set called Gingers.
We have a ginger filter, actually.
Yes,
Gunshots,
I
kniving.
heard curse words removed.
It's interesting. I think that's one of those things we have to be reminded every so often, to get back into that mindset again, because we get going and the ball, we catch steam and we get rolling, and then our world becomes bigger and bigger and everybody else gets pushed out of it. And sometimes we have to, pull ourselves back and be reminded, hey, focus, pull the chairs closer and get back in the group.
It's super easy to fall into a compliance rut. It really is. All of a sudden, I'm just doing my job.
Right.
So having that really focused commitment, we're all passionate about what we do. It's a really quick slide back to compliance when all these other little things around the outside start coming into play. And so really just keeping our reminder that, hey, I don't want to be compliant about this. I want to be committed to it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and compliance in our industry is actually not even compliance anymore. If you're just complying, you're actually falling behind and you're backsliding. So I can see that, it's that reminder we all need. Every time someone says, hey, blah, 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 I'll say, listen, send me 12 emails, one every 30 minutes, and tweet out to me, every hour, so I will remember to be on top of things. But, in education, compliance is maybe a 24-hour thing? Because we change so quickly that compliance can't be compliance. We always have to be pushing the edge. And so it's that, to me, that seems to be where we are in the 21st century with students. And and there's the thing, isn't it funny how in public education we're more and more realizing that at 18 we don't really lose you, we need to just keep going. I mean, we're pushing secondary because secondary is not just secondary anymore, it's vocational, it's the whole bit.
For several decades, we've been saying lifelong learners, but after 18, you are a lifelong learner and I'm busy elsewhere. Good luck.
Right, yeah.
You made it to 18, yay!
Right, yeah. Congratulations, you got your piece of paper,
That's
diploma, walk out the door.
Yeah. But and it's the same thing with us, because if it's true that we believe in lifelong learners, then we have to be the lifelong learners in our...
Lifelong learner leader?
That's it.
There you are. That's a hashtag.
We're stealing all these, by the way, later.
You should totally, because I will have forgotten it by... What did I just say?
What are we talking about? That's right.
Where am I? That's awesome. How's your guys' conference been?
It's been great. It's been going really, really well.
Yeah.
We were fine yesterday.
Yeah.
And you talked about...
Oh, no, we were in it.
No, we attended one. Yes. We were voluntold to go to one,
And
so
what-
we did.
Good, nice way to be compliant. And
No, it was actually very, very good. It was about the business side of growing new programs, learning. We learned anyway. I learned. I can't speak for the we, but yes, yeah, that's right. One of the things I learned that I took away from that was looking at data as a way to help support whatever program you're trying to come up with. If you're trying to launch a new service, launch a new program, first of all, figure out what data you need.
Yes.
That's a big part.
we're in that right now with a different piece.
You can have all the data in the world, but if it's not the right data, it's useless. So figuring out, filtering all that data and then making sure that even if after it's all filtered, it's still the right data to not just support what you're wanting to do. I mean, yeah, we'd all like data that backs up what we're doing, but be open to the fact that if the data rolls across and you look at it and go, really, we shouldn't even be doing this. Why are we doing this? And be open to exiting programs that you already have or exiting a program you thought was going to be awesome. But also, if you do find one that looks like it's going to be a great fit and you want it to grow, then where do you go from there? Things like, how do you determine how much this is going to cost?
It's exactly the conversation. So maybe you and I should hang out for a little bit as you just empty your brain into mine.
Yeah.
I have been tasked to come up with some of this information.
Yeah.
Me. This is not my wheelhouse.
Well,
That's one of our biggest with us
With
the
EduTech guys.
is that it's like anything that's happening in education now. ESDAC needs to be a standalone. It needs to make its own money, and EduTech guys needs to make its own money, not to be millionaires, just to keep doing our thing. That's right. And finding out, so how much is our thing worth?
Right.
It's in education we've found that it's always worth more than you thought.
And that's, everyone that I've ever talked to that's been their own business person has always told me, never sell yourself short. You can always lower your price, but never, once you start low, you're going to be low forever. Yep. And so, they'll pay for what you're worth. Now, there's the thing too that I think we always feel this way is like, hey, they're giving us this much money, then you got the fireworks ready, we're the poodles, and this show is going to be phenomenal. Boom, here we go, and we give them the best bang for their buck, and they go, wow, that was money well worth, well spent.
Right.
So we're in that same place of, okay, where's the data? How do we tie it into what we are going to offer? And there's the interesting thing, we're not just about this. We're about everything. Bring us in. We want to tell you how to get your kids active. We can tie right into this, but we can tie writing and science and math and the whole thing into it. Let's talk. Let's have that conversation. How much is that conversation worth to you?
That's right. It's a relationship that you've spent hours, years, days, all of those building so that some Joe Schmo like me can walk up and say, hey, what's this? Can you do all the work to this question I have and all your years of experience? And I don't want to pay you for it because, the time it would take me to develop all that information that you have, it would be worth more than I could pay. So even if you charge what they think is an outstandingly huge amount, how much would it cost you to do it yourself, y'all?
Right.
My time's worth something, right?
That's exactly right. And we do that all the time. I mean, yes, could we do our own plumbing? Could we,
right.
Yeah, but I don't have time to do that.
That's right. My husband doesn't even change the oil in the car anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, we make money for a reason. He said, this is how this economy works. I make it, I spend it.
That's right.
Other people make it and they spend it.
That's right. And it's keeping that other person employed, so there you go.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting place that we're all sitting at now, especially as we see in light of recent events also and what could be happening in education, that money slowly being taken away. And so we have to find better ways to make sure, because the fact that is in our face right now is kids still need to learn. No matter how much money they steal from us, from public education, we're still going to be faced with, no, we're not going to teach them just how to work in a factory anymore. These are the future rebuilders of this infrastructure that we call the United States.
I've been dubbing myself because nobody ever gives me nicknames that I want to ever share. So I make up my own nicknames. And I've been calling myself an edupreneur for years now, for years and years. And the reason why, I had some parents who were entrepreneurs. They were in my school. And it was a school that I had gotten started with the help of parents and teachers and some really brilliant minds, and they just allowed me to have some ideas, and we just did it.
Right.
And one of my students, when we were doing some career studies, says, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, I don't know how to help that kid. Kid wants to be a veterinarian, I can tell you your path. You want to be this, I can tell you the path. Entrepreneur, I'm an educator.
Yeah.
I don't know entrepreneur. And I told the parent this.
Yeah.
And they just looked at me like I was the biggest idiot they'd ever met. And they said, Ginger, you are an entrepreneur. What are you doing here? You have some thoughts in your head based on some things that you know and a lot of experience, and you're doing something no one else is. And I was like, I'm just not getting paid. I'm an entrepreneur in the social sphere, a social entrepreneur.
Well, and you take risks. That's the back end of that definition that everyone of entrepreneur that people The entrepreneur thing is, it's a person, doing something and taking a big risk at doing it. That's the back end of that definition, and we've forgotten that. So, entrepreneur, that's what you are. You take big risks. But, if you don't take big risks, they don't pay off.
That's right. And in education, I'm afraid too many of us are not risk takers. That's one of the reasons we came into education, because we knew that it was comfortable, or our families were in education. I know you're not agreeing with me on this, and I want to wrestle here. I want to hear this. I think a lot of folks are not.
Tammy's jumping out of her
so
skin.
Do it, Tammy.
Well, I guess I'm just not in agreement that they're not risk takers. I don't think they know how to be risk takers.
Well, then that means they're not. I'm not saying they don't want to be. I'm just saying they're not. So we agree. Good.
No.
I'm sorry. Keep talking then. Explain more.
I have to agree with you. I started off my career as a band director. And I hated it when assistant directors that I had, and I had a very large nationwide marching band that I took everywhere. And people the guys that I would hire and the girls that I would hire said, well, so-and-so does it this way. Well, I'm doing it this way. There's going to be poodles flying, and we're going to do this, and it was really interesting. I learned
he's gotta think about poodles.
You've heard of the Good Old Boys Network, but it exists everywhere. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to turn out kids that are going to go to North Texas and study jazz, and I'm going to turn out kids going to Belmont and Nashville that are going to sing and do this thing. I don't care, because my goal is to turn out musicians. That was my goal, and to entertain people. I got the whole marching band thing. I'm here to entertain you while you're in the stands. But that's the interesting part, that something started happening, because eventually when you get kicked down enough, then it changes for you. And, somewhere it did kind of for me. Eventually this organization that we work in can beat down a teacher to where you just stay in that room and you teach biology. That's all I'm asking you to do. I mean, how many of us know a principal that's probably said something, to a teacher like that? Just do your job. Can't you just teach the kids? Yeah. Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to push the envelope? Why do you need a smart board? Why do you want to take the kids out and test water at the river that's 2 miles away and I have to send a bus to do it? That doesn't make sense.
Will do that. What do they say? The best school innovation dies of domestic violence.
That's brilliant.
Now that I can buy.
Yeah.
So we learn to not be risk takers. So we're not risk takers.
Stop being a risk taker, because it's only going to be
right.
You are not right on that.
This is the thing she talks about, whether we're right or not. That's part of the inspired leadership.
You are not right on that.
It's okay. I like that we have different voices for folks.
It's funny. Dr. Steve was here a while ago.
Yes.
We were talking about citizenship and civics and social studies and the need for more of that, so that kids, we get talking about the political climate that we're in. And our kids get protesting, kind of, until you want to protest right alongside them. And then they're going, wait, no. No, here's the thing about being a citizenship. It's right here. This is a citizen. I'm going to say mine. You're going to say yours. But the goal is still the same. Because I think that's what our country's missing, is we're all going to go out and we're going to do the same thing. You want to do it this way and you want to do it this way. That's great. We have to eventually funnel that into one little tunnel and get to the same endpoint. And I think our kids understand, and they're fearless. Our kids are fearless. But at the same time, they don't understand citizenship in this country. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean citizenship. I mean citizenship. I live right next door to you. Your dog's barking at night. Let's have a conversation about it. You mind if I give him trees? Oh, great.
Is the dog a poodle? I'm just curious. That's
right. It's got to be flying.
My grandmother had a real mean one. It's a long story.
Okay. No hidden anything.
But I think we're in a really neat place and an opportunity in education in our country to do some really cool things with. And he was the one that brought up the thing about civics and social studies, and I said, that's about citizenship and what it means to be a citizen of this country. And that means we have to integrate. And I'm going to jump here because it's a great story. We interviewed a guy from that does ESL in Buffalo, New York, and we started talking about ESL. ESL in Hope, Arkansas is Spanish. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Right. ESL in Buffalo, New York is over 200 languages. Yeah. Syrian refugees that between them speak 7 or 8 different dialects. Mm-hmm. We have to get the kids in Hope, Arkansas, that knowledge of 200 languages just 1,000 miles away. You're going to run into them. And that this is what citizenship is about, is that, my great-great-grandfather, came into Ellis. And that seems a long way from me, but it's not. So I'm just no different than anyone else. They came to this country to get away from something else and become citizens of this country and work together. Which, it's interesting. That's the difference in 200 years or 100 years. The difference in 3 or 4 or 5 cultures at one time to now 80, 120.
You're talking brings to mind an image, because I'm a visual thinker. So when you talk, I see things. And not creepy. Flying poodles sometimes. Actually, they're gray and they're standard poodles in my mind. I have seen them. And there's some balloons around as well. But you laugh, but I see it. You had... what you're talking about with the coming together and that sort of thing, it's an old and worn out cliche, and people have stopped using it. Perhaps we should ought to breathe some life back into the salad bowl idea. radishes by themselves are awesome and delicious, but when you mix them with some carrots and lettuce, it's better.
Yeah.
And the more we throw in, up to a point. Is there a point? I'm not sure. I know some people who love lots and lots, but nobody likes lettuce alone.
That's true.
Okay, that's not true. There's some who do.
Well, I don't know. But there's the beautiful part of it. There's room for that too.
That's right.
There's room for that too, and I think that's what we're talking about, even in the sense of getting us in that mindset. Are we productive? Are we doing what we were supposed to be doing? Are we citizens of SDAC? Are we citizens of Kansas? Are we citizens of the United States? Are we working in that same, league? And I think that's what we're seeing. And let's tie it right into it. Workforce centers, innovation centers, PBL, getting these kids to understand working in a group, doing exactly what we're talking about are you helping, are you hindering? Yeah, are you able to put your piece of puzzle down and make it work out with everybody else? I don't know. Last year at this time we were kind of here.
You don't get one.
You don't get one.
I don't. She asked.
No coffee for you.
It's like that you don't get one. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't give him coffee.
No.
Not
Sorry.
at this point in the game. Yeah.
We just had a Starbucks delivery. Sorry, y'all. That's it.
Hey, this is some of the stuff that happens on live online broadcasting.
This is TV. They didn't see that happen.
No, next year we'll have video cameras,
Okay,
and
awesome.
that way you guys can be on.
Video scares me. I can't talk on video.
That's why I have a face for radio. That's why I do
What do
this.
you
That's why I do this.
That's right.
That's what we always go.
That's right.
So at the booth, tell us about the SDAC booth.
Come talk to us.
Well, they're usually not here, the people out in the audience, but our ESDAC booth this year is beautiful and big and full of energy and people. We have a double booth, and part of it is the ESDAC proper, which is, what is it? It's we have folks in there talking about poverty, we got folks talking about energy leadership, we've got engineering by design, we've got maker spaces, PBL, everything that's on that bleeding edge of education, as well as the things that are our standard staples that are the foundation, the math and the reading and the everything that we need to have with that. But the other piece to the booth this year is our best keynote piece, and I have a little bit of love for the best keynote piece. That's why you laugh with that?
Well, I would hope you have a little bit of love for it.
Sure. Best Keynote is our initiative that's done in partnership between ESDAC and AESA and Kevin Honeycutt. Kevin had a great idea one day and said, and we were talking and talked with some other folks. There's some lone wolf speakers and keynoters out in the world, and said, why don't we get together and do good things for kids, and let's play together. And we've developed a cadre, a friendship of great keynoters who do great things for schools and kids. There's a lot of keynoters out in the world. I know you've probably seen some who are they're not doing all that should be done. And in essence, stealing money from kids is what they're doing, because the services they're offering are just falling flat. And so we want to make sure that we've got the folks who have that the connection, the energy, the play together mentality, and we've collected some of the greatest folks across the U.S. and beyond. Actually, we even have international speakers to grow, and we grow together with that. We have upcoming speakers, and we have established speakers, and Tammy's in on that group as well.
Awesome.
And she's getting her wings growing with her keynoting, and that's terrifying and awesome and beautiful. And so that's what we do there, is to have a lot of fun at the booth and make connections, those relationships. Brad Wade, our keynoter, is one of our favorites, if there's such a thing. I think everybody someday or another is one of my favorites.
I was going to say, I think you rotate.
They do.
Which is good, because
do.
you don't actually have one favorite. You kind of have the favorite of the hour or the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Because everybody has strengths, right?
Right.
I do that. My new favorite participant, my new favorite person,
That's right.
And you want to be back in the favorite front of, I don't know why, but, some people would want to be. Anyway, Brad just really embodied a lot of that energy that you guys got to see in the keynote. And if you missed it, I think AESA recorded it.
Yeah.
You should go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, that was the Twitterverse blew up.
We were trending 1. Did you see that? Number 1. I know it's in the region, but I don't care.
Still?
That's right. For a long time,
Yeah.
AESA was.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's got things to share.
Yeah.
He's on top of his game.
Yeah, and I like, actually, if you've never seen Brad Wade before, he is super high energy and just spitting out. He did exactly what we love, is he really tailored to this audience. And this audience, some of the things would just have scared them. I'm not speaking ill of anyone.
no.
I'm just saying that he's out there really on that bleeding edge.
Yeah.
And he showed some of that, but he didn't alienate anyone. And that's what Best Keynote's about, is knowing who you are, knowing who your audience is, and delivering what they need.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's what we have. We're playing some music in there, and of all different kinds, and singing, and
Having a big time.
is there any other time to have?
No, there's not. There you go. I know this is gonna. I'm going all the way back to early part of the conversation, because this is something that has been kind of mulling around in my brain. When you're talking about the inspired leadership, and you're looking at an organization who is going to implement some kind of change, you have. I don't know how to say this politely. Well, it's not I'm going to be ugly about it, but I'll just say, okay. So you have certain personnel who are perhaps not as enthused, or they're not directly connected with maybe what some of the other things are happening. So let me just, for example, you may have certain members of your organization who are the entrepreneurial type, who are trying new things, sitting behind a table in Savannah, Georgia, and you have other members of that same organization who they're not part of that. They are holding down the fort, as it were, right? They're the folks who are in those clerk type positions, just to say that, as it is. How do you, and this may be a much bigger conversation that can be handled right here, but how do you help those folks who see what other folks, quote unquote, get to do? How do you help those folks who are not necessarily exposed to those types of things because of the role they have in the organization, still come along, without being forced into compliance, or, am I making any sense?
I believe you are. So what I would say is we're all going to get to experience that. One of the things that we've been working with in a couple of districts is we're not just working with certified teachers, because it takes a village.
Right.
I mean, they have a role and a responsibility. However, the secretaries in the office have a huge role and responsibility.
Yes.
The cooks in the line have a huge role and responsibility. We're all in this together, and my title doesn't matter. I'm a leader.
Yeah.
And the first person I have to lead myself is myself.
Yeah.
Before I can lead anyone else, I have to lead me. And so our largest transformation is when we can talk to everybody, and everybody can have that language and take ownership. And when Ginger really quick is running past me in the hall. Well, I could use this morning.
All right.
Ginger and I are crossing, and I was in. So I'm a former high school math teacher. That may or may not say a whole lot about me. I'm not really sure.
She's still a good person. We still love her.
And I get into the checklist mode and do it mode, and 3 things had gotten bumped a little bit on my checklist, and I was just on my mission to where the next place was that I was to be.
Sure.
Past her, she barely got a high. She did get a high, but if Ginger could have made the choice, like, what's her problem? Why is she upset with me?
Right.
Ginger,
She wouldn't be upset with me for anything. I just figured. No one.
we all have those choices
Right.
to make, and
Yes.
that's one of the things, is becoming aware that, wait a minute, Ginger could probably go, okay, Tam's got something going on right now. It wasn't at all personal to
Right.
Ginger, and just helping people work through those thoughts, because every thought has a consequence.
Right.
Every thought has a consequence. I truly believe that has a consequence on how I act in the next moment. And so that's just one of the things that we work on. You know, the parent that calls into the school secretary yelling is really not upset with the school secretary.
Right.
That's right.
99.95% of the time. And so helping them remove that personal component so that they can really help that parent.
Yeah.
You know,
That is
that's
phenomenal.
Anytime we had a parent who was angry, you know, I think to myself, they care about their kids, so do I.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
how can
So what do we
we
do?
come together? Because we have that in common.
Absolutely, even working with the teacher, because again, they're not upset with the teacher; they're advocating for their child. And yes,
Right.
is it coming across in potentially? So, hey, guess what? I want to advocate for your child also. So let's
Exactly.
both put our baseball hats on and do that.
Yeah.
We don't have to put our boxing gloves on and do that.